You believe you know Napoleon Hill. You have read Think and Grow Rich. You have grasped its principles. But consider for a moment, what if that was only the surface, a meticulously constructed facade revealing just a fraction of the full architecture? What if my own relentless pursuit, my 20 years observing the titans of industry and finance, did not merely lead to a collection of astute methods, but rather unearthed a deeper, more fundamental truth, a universal code, the very operating system of success that underpins everything you have ever witnessed, everything you have ever desired? This is not idle speculation. This is an invitation to profound inquiry, a journey beyond the printed page into the very mechanics of creation itself. For too long, the aspiring have memorized steps, echoed affirmations, and diligently applied principles, only to find their efforts yielding inconsistent results, a fleeting glimpse of greatness, or worse, persistent frustration. Why does this happen? Is it a deficiency in the principle, or a misunderstanding of the foundation upon which all principles rest? Today, we peel back the layers to reveal what I consider to be my ultimate legacy, my untold secret, the 12 universal laws of success. These are not mere guidelines, mutable suggestions open to interpretation or occasional application. No, these are immutable forces, fundamental constants in the universe of achievement. They operate with the same unwavering precision as gravity, whether you acknowledge their existence or not. You can either align with them, consciously harnessing their immense power, or unknowingly struggle against them, forever battling an invisible current that pulls you away from your true potential. Reflect for a moment on the vast gulf between understanding a concept and mastering a universal law. One might understand the concept of flight, but to truly fly, one must conform to the laws of aerodynamics. Similarly, one might understand the principles of desire and faith, but to manifest true wealth and power, one must conform to these deeper cosmic decrees. This is about understanding the very fabric of reality, the subtle yet powerful energies that govern cause and effect, to command not just fragments of success, but an entire domain of wealth, power, and freedom beyond your wildest dreams. Consider the hundreds of men I studied, the Carnegie, the Ford, the Edison. Their visible methods, their discernible habits, these became the principles. But beneath those visible actions, I saw a profound intuitive alignment with something far grander. They were, in their own ways, consciously or unconsciously, tapping into a hidden order, manipulating these universal laws to their advantage. Their success was not accidental, it was orchestrated, a symphony played according to cosmic rules. And it is these rules, these laws, that we are about to uncover. This knowledge is not for the faint of heart, nor for those content with mediocrity. It demands a recalibration of your perspective, a willingness to question deeply held beliefs about how the world truly operates. It demands courage to step beyond the familiar and embrace a truth that, once seen, cannot be unseen. Your current level of achievement, your current experience of abundance or scarcity, is a direct reflection of your conscious or unconscious alignment with these very laws. There is no escaping their influence. Remain present, therefore, because by the end of this revelation, your understanding of achievement, your grasp of true power, and your very path to realizing it will be fundamentally, irrevocably changed. Your perception of what is possible will expand, and your frustration with seemingly insurmountable obstacles will begin to dissolve, replaced by a profound sense of control and clarity. Are you truly prepared to discover the intricate mechanics of your own destiny, to stop merely wishing for success and begin instead to command it? The choice, as always, is yours. But the truth, once laid bare, leaves no room for doubt. You have consumed the knowledge, absorbed the wisdom, but now we must delve deeper into the very genesis of this revelation. For 2 decades, I, Napoleon Hill, embarked on a singular mission: to uncover the precise formula for success. I spent countless hours, years, interviewing, observing, and dissecting the lives of more than 500 of the wealthiest and most influential men and women of my era. My initial work, culminating in Think and Grow Rich, presented the observable methods, the discernible principles that these titans applied daily. It laid bare the what and the how of their achievements, the power of desire, the necessity of faith, the wisdom of the mastermind. These were the visible manifestations of their inner world, their actions. But as my work progressed, as I continued to pore over notes, to reflect deeply on the nuances of their triumphs and their seemingly inexplicable strokes of fortune, a more profound pattern began to emerge. It was not enough to merely enumerate the principles. I began to perceive the underlying mechanics, the unseen architecture upon which these principles rested. What if these successful individuals were not just applying methods, but were, consciously or unconsciously, harnessing forces far greater than their individual willpower? What if they were tapping into a hidden operating system, a universal code that governed not just human endeavor, but the very unfolding of reality itself? My private journals, those extensive philosophical explorations that rarely saw the light of day, became the crucible in which these deeper truths were forged. In conversations I deemed too profound, too esoteric perhaps, for the general masses of my time, I discovered hints, shared observations, and moments of startling clarity from these powerful figures. They spoke of intuition, of unseen guidance, of a universe that seemed to conspire in their favor when their minds were aligned. They were not merely working hard, they were in tune. I realized that Think and Grow Rich captured the genius of their application, but it only hinted at the greater genius of the universe's design. My work had documented the effects. Now I sought the ultimate causes. I saw that their definite purpose was not just a wish, but an energetic command. Their faith was not blind belief, but an unwavering expectation born from a deeper understanding of vibrational realities. Their mastermind groups were not just alliances of intellect, but resonant fields of amplified intention. These were not mere psychological tricks. They were reflections of immutable cosmic laws. Most people, the vast majority, learn the what, but miss the why. They follow the steps, they imitate the actions, but they do not grasp the underlying mechanics. They are given a magnificent machine, but no manual for its hidden power source. Is it any wonder, then, that so many fall short, despite their earnest efforts? They are trying to operate a complex system without understanding its fundamental laws. They are sailing a ship without understanding the currents and the winds that truly govern its course. This misunderstanding is not a flaw in their character, but a gap in their knowledge, a blind spot in their perception of reality. They believe that effort alone is sufficient, when in truth, aligned effort guided by universal understanding, is the true key. They struggle against forces they cannot name, unaware that the universe itself has a benevolent order, a set of fixed rules that, once mastered, turn obstacles into opportunities and dreams into undeniable realities. Consider this. Is it not logical that if there are universal laws governing physics, chemistry, and biology, there must also be universal laws governing success, wealth, and power? Is it reasonable to assume that the most complex and profound aspects of human achievement are somehow exempt from the very order that governs the rest of existence? My deeper dive revealed that this assumption is utterly false. These laws exist, they are precise, they are dependable, and they are waiting for you to discover them, to integrate them, and to wield their immense power. This video, therefore, is not merely a recounting of facts. It is an unveiling of the hidden operating system of your own potential, a system that Napoleon Hill, through decades of profound investigation, finally deciphered. Now we transition from the origins of these profound truths to their very essence. We begin with the first pillar of dominion, the bedrock of all lasting achievement, the inner blueprint. This is where success is first conceived, not in the bustling marketplace or the hallowed halls of power, but within the silent chambers of your own mind. And within this sacred space, the very first and perhaps most vital universal law reveals itself: the law of absolute clarity. Consider this. Most individuals walk through life with a vague longing, a generalized wish for more. More money, more happiness, more freedom. But what exactly does more look like? What are its precise dimensions? What specific sensations define it? The universe, in its infinite wisdom and its unwavering adherence to order, cannot respond to an undefined signal. Imagine an architect attempting to construct a magnificent edifice with only the nebulous instruction, "Build a better house." The result would be chaos, confusion, and ultimately, nothing of substance. My meticulous observations of the industrial giants, the financial titans, revealed one irrefutable fact. Their desires were not mere wishes. They were crystalline visions, etched into the very fabric of their consciousness with holographic precision. They understood, whether consciously or instinctively, that the universe requires an unclouded blueprint, a definitive set of instructions to begin the work of manifestation. Vagueness, my friend, yields only vague results. A hazy photograph produces a blurry image. A whispered, uncertain command elicits no decisive action. This law dictates that the power of infinite intelligence, the boundless energy that orchestrates all creation, responds only to clear, unequivocal directives. When your desire is shrouded in uncertainty, when your objective lacks distinct form, how can the universal forces possibly coalesce to bring it into being? They cannot. They await your command, but that command must be precise. This is where the law of absolute clarity transcends the mere principle of definite purpose. Definite purpose is the what. Absolute clarity is the how it feels, looks, sounds, tastes, and even smells when that what has already arrived. It demands that you engage every faculty of your mind, every one of your five senses, and your deepest emotional core, to construct a vivid, living reality of your desired outcome before it manifests in the physical world. It is not enough to merely state your goal. You must inhabit it. You must experience it in your imagination with such intensity that it becomes more real to you than your present circumstances. What does this truly mean? It means taking your definite chief aim and turning it into an undeniable, internal certainty. If your desire is financial abundance, do not merely state a sum. Envision the bank balance, see the figures, feel the security, hear the quiet hum of financial freedom. What does your day look like when this abundance is a reality? What new experiences does it afford you? What relief does it bring? What joy does it unlock? You must paint this mental picture with the finest brushes, filling in every conceivable detail. This is not passive daydreaming, this is active, constructive imagination, a deliberate act of creation within the laboratory of your own mind. Many people stumble here. They articulate a goal, perhaps even write it down, but then their minds wander, distracted by doubt, by present lack, by the seeming impossibility of it all. They focus on the absence of their desire rather than the presence of its fulfillment. The law of absolute clarity demands the opposite. It compels you to shift your focus entirely, to dwell consistently within the reality of your accomplished desire. This constant mental impression is not just wishful thinking. It is the fundamental programming of your subconscious mind, which, as you shall soon see, is the direct conduit to infinite intelligence. The successful individuals I studied understood this implicitly. They possessed an inner conviction, a certainty that bordered on obsession regarding their objectives. They could describe their future achievements with such vivid detail, such emotional resonance, that it was as if they were recounting past events. This was not arrogance. It was a profound alignment with the law of absolute clarity. They had provided the universe with such a perfect blueprint that its manifestation became an inevitable consequence. So, I ask you now, with profound sincerity, is your desire truly clear? Or is it still a nebulous longing, a generalized hope? Have you dedicated the time, the mental effort, the emotional energy to sculpt it into an undeniable reality within your own mind? Can you close your eyes and feel the texture of your achieved dream, hear its triumphant sounds, witness its vibrant colors, taste its sweet victory? If not, you are attempting to build a skyscraper without a foundation, to command an army without issuing precise orders. The universe awaits your clear command. But once that command is issued, once that blueprint is undeniably complete, then and only then can the truly powerful work begin. For clarity is but the first step on a journey that demands not just vision, but an unwavering expectation of its arrival. From the crystalline blueprint of absolute clarity, we now ascend to the very force that breathes life into that vision, the law of unwavering expectation. For what good is a perfectly drawn plan if it lies dormant, believed to be unattainable? A definite purpose, no matter how precisely defined, remains a mere abstraction until it is imbued with an absolute certainty of its realization. This is where faith, as I spoke of it in my earlier works, transmutes into a proactive, energetic state of knowing. It transcends mere belief, which can often be a fragile thing, easily swayed by external circumstances or internal doubt. Unwavering expectation is the solid conviction that what you have clarified, what you have commanded the universe to deliver, is not merely possible, but inevitable. Many mistake faith for a passive hope, a gentle prayer offered to some distant power. This is a fundamental misunderstanding. True faith, in the context of these universal laws, is an active, expectant state where doubt simply cannot reside. It is a resolute inner posture, a mental attitude that says, "It is done. It is mine." When doubt infiltrates the mind, it acts as a corrosive acid, dissolving the very foundations of your desired outcome. Doubt is, in essence, a negative expectation, an anticipation of failure, a subconscious counter-command to the universe. How can infinite intelligence, which responds to the dominant vibrations emanating from your consciousness, deliver abundance when your expectation is riddled with scarcity? It cannot. The universe is a perfect mirror, reflecting precisely what you expect. My prolonged study of the most successful individuals revealed that their successes were rarely a result of blind luck or fortuitous circumstances. Their achievements were the logical consequence of a sustained, unshakable expectation. They carried themselves with an air of certainty, not arrogance, but an inner conviction that their objectives were not just probable, but predetermined. They acted as if their success was already a foregone conclusion. Consider Andrew Carnegie, a man of immense vision. Did he hope to build an empire, or did he know it was within his capacity? And did his every action, every decision, every interaction reflect that profound conviction? The latter, without question. His expectation was unwavering, a beacon guiding his every move. This is the power of what I term pre-paving. It is the deliberate act of mentally preparing for success, of laying down the psychic and emotional groundwork for your desired reality so thoroughly that its arrival feels not like a surprise, but like the natural, undeniable fulfillment of an anticipated event. It is living from the future you desire, not perpetually striving towards it from a place of present lack. To prepave is to immerse yourself so completely in the experience of your fulfilled desire that your emotional state aligns with its attainment. How does one achieve this? It begins by consciously directing your imagination. Just as you used all 5 senses to create absolute clarity in your blueprint, you now employ them to build an emotional resonance of unwavering expectation. Visualize receiving the phone call, signing the contract, feeling the texture of the wealth, hearing the accolades, tasting the sweetness of victory. Crucially, feel the emotions associated with these events. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the profound sense of accomplishment. This is not mere fantasizing. It is a sophisticated method of programming your subconscious mind. Your subconscious does not distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a physically experienced one. When you repeatedly feed it the rich, sensory data of your success, coupled with the potent emotion of certainty, it accepts this as reality. It then begins to rearrange circumstances, to present opportunities, to guide your actions, all in perfect alignment with this deeply embedded expectation. The challenge, of course, lies in maintaining this unwavering expectation when your current physical reality seems to offer contradictory evidence. This is the ultimate test of your mastery over this law. The untrained mind is quick to surrender to present limitations, to allow doubt to creep in, undermining the powerful work it has done. But the master of these laws understands that the physical world is often merely a delayed reflection of previous thoughts and expectations. To change your future, you must change your present expectation, irrespective of the current appearances. This requires mental discipline, a conscious decision to continuously return your focus to the blueprint, to the knowing, to the certainty. It demands persistence in belief, a stubborn refusal to entertain any thought or emotion that contradicts your desired outcome. This persistence is not born of struggle, but of an inherent understanding of how the universe truly operates. The universe responds to certainty, not to wavering desire or hesitant hope. It is like a powerful current. If you swim against it, you exhaust yourself. If you align with it, it carries you effortlessly to your destination. Your unwavering expectation is that alignment. It is the magnetic force that pulls your desires into material form. When your inner world vibrates with the absolute conviction of your success, the outer world has no choice but to conform. Opportunities appear, resources align, people step forward to assist, and challenges transform into stepping stones. This is not magic, this is law. Therefore, I urge you to reflect deeply. How firm is your expectation? Is it an unshakable inner knowing, or is it merely a fragile hope? Do you find yourself acting as if your desires are already fulfilled, or do your actions betray a lurking doubt? Examine your thoughts, your feelings, your spoken words. Do they reflect an absolute certainty, or do they inadvertently communicate a lack of conviction? For the quality of your expectation dictates the quality of your manifestation. When you master the art of unwavering expectation, you will discover that the path from vision to reality becomes less a struggle and more an inevitable unfolding, guided by the very forces of the universe. This powerful alignment, however, relies on something even deeper, something that allows you to engrave these commands onto the very fabric of your being. From the profound conviction of unwavering expectation, we now descend into the very laboratory of your being, the fertile ground where intention transforms into indelible reality, the law of persistent impression. For what value is even the most resolute certainty if it is merely a fleeting thought, an ephemeral feeling? True power, lasting transformation, stems from the consistent, unwavering etching of your clarified vision and your absolute expectation onto the most potent operating system you possess, your subconscious mind. Reflect upon this. Your subconscious mind is an obedient servant, a vast, powerful mechanism that executes every command you give it, without question or judgment. It does not discern between beneficial and detrimental, between truth and falsehood, between what you truly desire and what you frequently dwell upon. It simply receives, processes, and works tirelessly to manifest the dominant impressions it receives. If the conscious mind is the captain steering the ship, the subconscious is the engine room, providing the propulsion, tirelessly directing the vessel along the path you command, or unwittingly along the course dictated by your deepest, most persistent thoughts. My studies revealed that repetition is not merely a tool for memory. It is the very act of engraving. A single stroke upon a surface leaves little mark. But countless deliberate strokes, applied with consistency and conviction, eventually carve a deep and lasting impression. This is how the subconscious mind operates. It does not accept a command based on a single fleeting declaration, no matter how passionate. It responds to the persistent, rhythmic, and emotionally charged impression that you feed it day after day, hour after hour. This is the essence of autosuggestion, the bridge between the conscious thought and the subconscious action, the method by which you program your own internal universe. Most individuals, unfortunately, allow their subconscious minds to be programmed by default. They permit the incessant chatter of external opinions, the insidious whispers of doubt, the constant reinforcement of perceived limitations, to become the dominant impressions. Their inner world becomes a chaotic tapestry woven from others' fears and societal norms, rather than a magnificent design of their own conscious choosing. Is it any wonder, then, that their outward results are often a reflection of this haphazard, unconscious programming? They are attempting to build a palace with blueprints drafted by 1,000 conflicting voices, never truly their own. The masters of achievement, I observed, understood this intrinsically. Whether through disciplined meditation, repeated affirmations, or simply an unwavering focus that permeated every waking moment, they ensured their subconscious was saturated with the images, the feelings, and the absolute certainty of their desired outcomes. They did not leave this crucial programming to chance. They knew that to command external reality, they must first command their internal reality. They recognized that the subconscious mind is not merely a storage unit for memories, but a creative powerhouse, a direct conduit to infinite intelligence, capable of orchestrating circumstances far beyond the reach of the conscious intellect, provided it receives clear, persistent, and unwavering instructions. Now consider the application of this profound law. It is not enough to simply repeat a single affirmation, however positive, a few times a day. Such an approach is akin to trying to sculpt marble with a feather. To truly engrave your commands, to forge your subconscious into an undeniable instrument of your will, you must craft what I call affirmation sequences. These are not just isolated phrases. They are carefully constructed cascades of thought, designed to target specific subconscious blocks, dismantle limiting beliefs, and then, with relentless consistency, reinforce your desired reality. Imagine your subconscious mind as a vast, rich soil. A single seed, carelessly dropped, may or may not take root. But a sequence of actions, preparing the soil, planting multiple seeds, nurturing them with water and light, consistently, day after day, guarantees a harvest. An affirmation sequence works similarly. It begins by acknowledging and then directly challenging the old negative programming. For instance, if a deep-seated belief in financial scarcity exists, the sequence might first address this. I release all past beliefs about lack and limitation. This is not denial. It is a conscious act of disentanglement. Then it transitions to the positive, definitive command. I am now open and receptive to all forms of abundance. Finally, it anchors the emotion and certainty. I feel the expanding joy of true prosperity flowing into my life effortlessly. This is repeated not just once or twice, but hundreds, thousands of times, with deep feeling, until it becomes the new dominant impression. This persistent impression is the act of consciously and systematically replacing old, restrictive programs with new, empowering ones. It requires dedication, a daily commitment to feed your subconscious mind the exact instructions you wish it to execute. It means taking responsibility for every thought you allow to dwell, every word you utter, and every emotion you cultivate, knowing that each one contributes to the engravings upon your inner blueprint. The successful individuals did not merely hope their desires would manifest. They impressed them upon their subconscious with such force, such consistency, that manifestation became a vibrational inevitability. The discipline required for this persistent impression is a small price to pay for the ultimate reward. A subconscious mind wholly aligned with your definite purpose, effortlessly working to bring your unwavering expectation into physical form. It is the mastery of this law that separates the dreamers from the doers, the hopeful from the achievers. For when your inner world is consistently impressed with your truth, the outer world has no choice but to bend to its will. This personal dominion, however, finds its ultimate expression when harnessed with the collaborative power of another essential universal law. From the profound internalized programming of persistent impression, we now expand our gaze outward, for no great work is ever conceived or executed in isolation. We ascend to the fourth foundational principle within the inner blueprint, a universal force that multiplies individual power into an unstoppable collective might, the law of amplified resonance. Consider this deeply. You have diligently carved your absolute clarity onto the canvas of your consciousness. You have nurtured an unwavering expectation, fueling it with persistent impressions upon your subconscious. Yet, even with this potent internal architecture, you must ask yourself, how can this immense power be amplified, accelerated, and rendered virtually irresistible? The answer lies not merely in collaboration, not simply in sharing resources, but in the deliberate cultivation of a synergistic field of thought, an energetic communion I termed the master mind. But the master mind is more than just a group. It is the manifestation of the law of amplified resonance. My extensive observations of the world's most prominent figures revealed a striking pattern. Not one of them achieved their monumental successes in solitude. Every single one surrounded themselves with others of similar drive, complementary talents, and, crucially, an aligned, definite purpose. They were not simply exchanging ideas, they were creating a mental chemistry, a vibrational field where collective intelligence and intention were not merely added together, but multiplied. This multiplication, this exponential increase in power, is the very essence of amplified resonance. Think of it scientifically. Two tuning forks, precisely calibrated to the same frequency. When one is struck, the other will begin to vibrate in sympathy, amplifying the original sound far beyond its initial force. This is not magic. This is a fundamental law of the universe. In the realm of thought and intention, when two or more minds align themselves with an identical, burning desire and an unwavering expectation of its fulfillment, they create a similar resonant field. This field becomes a powerful magnet, attracting ideas, opportunities, resources, and even seemingly serendipitous events that propel them towards their common objective with astonishing speed. It is the universe responding to an amplified, coherent signal of intention. Most people approach collaboration as a utilitarian exchange. I have this skill, you have that skill, let us combine them. While valuable, this is only scratching the surface of the law of amplified resonance. This law demands more. It demands not just complementary skills, but an alignment of energetic output. It asks that you curate your inner circle not merely for what they do, but for who they are in relation to your highest vision. Do they elevate your energy? Do they amplify your belief? Do they hold the same unwavering expectation for your success as you do? If not, their presence, however well-intentioned, may be dissipating your precious energy rather than multiplying it. Have you ever felt more energized, more inspired, more capable of conquering the world in the presence of certain individuals? Conversely, have you felt drained, stifled, or filled with self-doubt after interacting with others, even those you consider friends or colleagues? This is the subtle yet profound influence of vibrational resonance at play. The law of amplified resonance reveals that your associations are not neutral. They are either building you up or tearing you down, amplifying your purpose or diffusing your power. The unique application of this law, therefore, extends beyond the traditional concept of a large mastermind group. The power of amplified resonance can begin with even a single, deeply aligned partner. One individual who truly believes in your definite purpose, who shares your unwavering expectation, can create a resonant field strong enough to catalyze incredible breakthroughs. This relationship transcends mere friendship or professional alliance. It becomes a sacred partnership of purpose, a spiritual and intellectual collaboration where the sum is far greater than its parts. It is two minds, two hearts, beating in rhythmic harmony towards a shared, magnificent destiny. However, the inverse is equally true and profoundly dangerous. Misaligned resonance, negative associations, individuals who doubt your vision, who cling to scarcity, or who simply lack their own definite purpose can act as energetic anchors, dragging you down. They can create a dissonant vibration that actively repels the very opportunities you seek to attract. Could your current lack of progress, your persistent struggle, be attributed not just to your own effort, but to the collective energy you are, or are not, cultivating around your goals? This is a question worthy of deep, honest reflection. Conscious cultivation of amplified resonance demands deliberate action. It requires mutual respect, not just for ideas, but for each other's inherent genius and potential. It requires open, honest communication, where fears and doubts can be expressed and dissolved in the light of shared purpose and unwavering expectation. It demands a willingness to give as much, if not more, than you receive, understanding that true energetic flow is always circular and abundant. It means choosing your associations with the same discernment you apply to your most critical investments. When you bring together minds imbued with absolute clarity, fueled by unwavering expectation, and consistently impressed with a shared, definite purpose, you ignite a force that is virtually unstoppable. This is not simply exchanging ideas, but truly amplifying intention. It is leveraging a universal truth that states, concentrated, harmonious mental energy, when directed toward a specific aim, becomes an irresistible power. This is the mastermind's true origin, not merely a gathering of individuals, but a fusion of consciousness that resonates with the very heartbeat of infinite intelligence. Your inner blueprint is now complete, meticulously crafted, imbued with conviction, and amplified by harmonious association. Now, we turn our attention to the external world, to the laws that govern action and manifestation, the outer architecture of achievement. With the inner blueprint meticulously crafted, imbued with absolute clarity, fortified by unwavering expectation, and amplified by resonant associations, you stand at the precipice of physical manifestation. But a blueprint, however perfect, remains a mere drawing until it meets the hands of a builder. An engine, however powerful, remains dormant until its ignition. This brings us to the first immutable truth of the outer architecture, the vital bridge between intention and tangibility, the catalyst of creation, which I term the law of inspired action. Consider the common misconception that sheer effort, relentless exertion, and an unending stream of activity alone guarantee success. The world is filled with individuals toiling ceaselessly, their days consumed by busyness, yet their desired results remain frustratingly elusive. They are, in essence, pushing a car up a hill with its brakes still on, expending vast amounts of energy with little to show for it. My observations of the truly successful individuals, the men and women who carved empires from vision, revealed a profound distinction. Their actions were not merely abundant, they were aligned. They moved not with frantic desperation, but with a purposeful flow, often describing a sense of being guided, receiving hunches or inner promptings that, when acted upon, invariably led to breakthroughs. This law dictates that knowledge, no matter how specialized, no matter how deeply impressed upon the subconscious, remains potential energy until it is transformed into kinetic energy through action. But it is not just any action that unlocks the universe's bounty. It is the specific guided action that flows spontaneously from an aligned inner state. It is the decisive movement that emerges when your absolute clarity has been fully formed, your unwavering expectation firmly established, and your persistent impressions have fully programmed your subconscious. When these inner laws are meticulously honored, your subconscious mind, now functioning as a direct conduit to infinite intelligence, begins to supply your conscious mind with precise, actionable directives. These are the whispers of inspiration, the sudden insights, the undeniable urges to move in a particular direction. Many miss these crucial signals. They mistake them for random thoughts, dismiss them as impractical fantasies, or worse, procrastinate on their execution, waiting for perfect conditions that rarely materialize. But inspiration, like a delicate flame, demands immediate kindling. To delay acts of inspired action is often to extinguish them. The universe, in its wisdom, presents opportunities, opens doors, and sends guidance not for idle consideration, but for decisive engagement. The successful individuals I studied were masters at recognizing these nudges and acting upon them swiftly, often without fully comprehending the entire path. They understood that the full picture rarely reveals itself at the outset. Rather, each step of inspired action illuminates the next. How then do you differentiate between mere busyness and true inspired flow state action? The distinction lies in the feeling. Busyness often feels heavy, effortful, forced, stemming from a conscious effort to make things happen. Inspired action, conversely, carries a lightness, an undeniable sense of rightness, a feeling of effortless propulsion. It feels less like pushing and more like being pulled. It resonates with your deepest desires and aligns perfectly with your clarified purpose. It often appears as a novel idea, a solution to a long-standing problem, a surprising connection, or an urge to reach out to a specific person. To cultivate this, you must first quiet the incessant chatter of the analytical mind, the constant questioning and doubting that often stifles the nascent spark of inspiration. This is where your mastery of the previous laws becomes paramount. When your subconscious is saturated with your desired outcome, it begins to generate creative solutions and pathways. These solutions manifest as inspired actions. Learn to trust these internal promptings. Keep a keen awareness and attentional receptivity for these subtle signals. They rarely arrive with trumpets and fanfare. More often, they are quiet intuitions, a gentle knowing that says, "This is the next step." Consider the profound implications of procrastination in this context. To postpone an inspired action is not merely to delay a task. It is to sever a connection to the very flow of manifestation. It is to ignore the universe's direct guidance, effectively telling it that you are not ready, that you do not trust its process. The universal law is precise. Action is the bridge. Inspired action is the fastest bridge. When you act upon inspiration, you send a powerful signal back to infinite intelligence. I am ready, I am engaged, I am in alignment. This positive feedback loop then generates further inspiration, creating a virtuous cycle of accelerated manifestation. This law does not diminish the importance of deliberate planning or strategic thinking. Rather, it elevates it. For while planning maps the terrain, inspired action is the compass that guides you through it, often revealing shortcuts and bypassing obstacles that your conscious mind could never have anticipated. It transforms the arduous journey into an exhilarating adventure, where synchronicities abound and breakthroughs appear as if by magic. But it is not magic. It is the predictable outcome of operating in harmony with universal law. So, reflect on your current actions. Are they born from frantic pushing or from inspired pulling? Are you merely working hard, or are you working smart by listening to the subtle guidance of your programmed subconscious? How many times have you had an inspired idea, a sudden urge, and then allowed fear or doubt to talk you out of it, only to see someone else execute a similar idea and reap its rewards? This is the cost of ignoring the law of inspired action. It is the cost of standing still when the universe is beckoning you forward. Embrace the catalyst of creation. Step forward with decisiveness, even when the path ahead is not entirely clear. For it is through this dynamic engagement that the outer architecture of your success truly begins to take form. But remember, every action, inspired or otherwise, generates a result, and understanding how to intelligently interpret and utilize these results is the next vital lesson in mastery. Type 1 to write the next topic or type the changes you want. The user wants the next topic. The feedback loop. The law of iterative mastery. I need to write approximately 4,500 characters, maintaining the persona of Napoleon Hill, incorporating psychological triggers, and making it narration-ready without bullet points or subheaders. I must also connect it fluidly from the previous topic, law of inspired action, and set up the next topic subtly. Plan. 1. Transition. Connect from the idea that inspired action inevitably leads to results. Emphasize that these results, whether perceived as successes or failures, are equally valuable. 2. Introduce law of iterative mastery. Name it and explain its core concept. Failure is feedback, not finality. Every setback contains a seed of opportunity. 3. Hill's insight. Elaborate on how Hill observed this in his subjects. They did not fear failure. They extracted lessons. Edison's numerous failures before the light bulb is a prime example. The true failure is not trying or not learning from attempts. 4. Unique application. Implementing a rapid iteration cycle, a conscious process of learn, adjust, reapply. Shift perspective from failure to data collection or experimentation. Discuss the importance of emotional detachment from outcomes in order to learn effectively. Connect back to the previous laws. How absolute clarity allows for course correction, unwavering expectation allows for persistence despite setbacks, and inspired action provides the data. 5. Psychological triggers, jot hooks. Challenge the common, debilitating fear of failure. Reframe mistakes as essential steps. Create a sense of empowerment by showing how to leverage all experiences. Pose rhetorical questions about past failures and what was learned. 6. Narration. Ready. Ensure smooth flow, appropriate punctuation for reflection and emphasis, and avoid any non-narrative elements. 7. Character count. Check. Aim for around 4,500 characters. 8. Setup for next law. Briefly hint that learning from actions leads to increased value and service, preparing for the law of equivalent value. Having embraced the law of inspired action, you now step into the dynamic arena of manifestation, where your intentions meet the physical world. But every action, whether guided by the clearest inspiration or by human deliberation, yields a result. This brings us to a truth that separates the perpetual striver from the undeniable achiever, a universal decree that transforms apparent setbacks into stepping stones. The law of iterative mastery, often understood as the feedback loop. Consider the prevailing human tendency to categorize outcomes into simplistic binaries, success or failure. Most individuals view failure as an endpoint, a definitive judgment of incapacity, a reason to retreat or abandon their quest. This perspective, I assure you, is a profound and debilitating misunderstanding of one of the universe's most benevolent operating principles. My exhaustive study of the most successful individuals, the Edisons, the Fords, the Carnegies, revealed that none of them traversed a straight, unblemished path to their monumental achievements. On the contrary, their journeys were invariably marked by countless experiments, by repeated attempts, by what the average person would label as failures. Yet they consistently extracted triumph from these experiences. How? Because they understood that failure is not finality. It is merely feedback. It is a crucial, non-judgmental piece of information that illuminates the path forward. This law dictates that every single attempt, every action you undertake generates data. This data, whether it confirms your expectations or contradicts them, is immensely valuable. It is the universe providing you with precise instructions on how to refine your approach, adjust your strategy, and ultimately, perfect your execution. The true failure is not in the attempt that doesn't yield the desired result. The true failure lies in the refusal to learn, in the abandonment of the quest, in the inability to extract the seed of an equal or greater opportunity embedded within every apparent setback. Imagine the inventor Thomas Edison. How many filaments did he test before discovering the one that would usher in an age of light? He famously stated he had not failed, but merely found 10,000 ways that would not work. This was not bravado. It was a profound understanding of iterative mastery. Each failed attempt was not an indictment of his ability, but a precise piece of feedback, narrowing the field of possibilities, guiding him closer to the ultimate solution. He did not fear the outcome. He embraced it as an essential component of the discovery process. This unique application requires you to implement what I call a rapid iteration cycle. It is a conscious, disciplined process of learn, adjust, and reapply. First, learn. When an action does not produce the intended outcome, resist the urge to lament or criticize. Instead, cultivate a detached, analytical perspective. Ask yourself, what exactly happened? What was the deviation from the expected result? What new information has this experience provided me? This is not about self-blame. It is about self-correction, a scientific approach to your own endeavors. Second, adjust. Based on the insights gained from the learning phase, consciously modify your approach. What needs to change? Your strategy, your timing, your resources, your level of skill, your understanding of the market. This adjustment is a testament to your flexibility and your commitment to your ultimate objective. It demonstrates a resilience that transcends mere stubbornness. Third, reapply. With the adjusted strategy, return to action, but with renewed vigor and heightened awareness. This is not about repeating the same mistake. It is about applying new knowledge, testing a refined hypothesis, and continuing your forward momentum. This cycle is not linear. It is an upward spiral, each rotation bringing you closer to mastery and, inevitably, to manifestation. The fear of making mistakes, of failing, cripples more potential than any external obstacle ever could. This fear stems from a societal conditioning that equates errors with personal inadequacy. But the universe, in its grand design, teaches through experience. Every master of any craft, from a musician to a business magnate, achieves excellence not by avoiding mistakes, but by making more mistakes than anyone else and learning more profoundly from each one. Their journey is a testament to the law of iterative mastery. Your mastery of absolute clarity is vital here. When your definite purpose is crystal clear, setbacks do not cause you to question the destination, only the current route. Your unwavering expectation allows you to persist, understanding that the learning process is inherent to the journey, not a deviation from it. And your persistent impressions ensure that your subconscious remains programmed for ultimate success, even when conscious efforts encounter temporary resistance. These laws work in concert, a symphony of internal and external forces. Consider this carefully. How many valuable lessons have you left unlearned, simply because you allowed the sting of an undesirable outcome to overshadow the invaluable feedback it contained? How many times have you stopped just short of a breakthrough, convinced that a failure meant the end, when in reality it was merely the universe pointing you in a slightly different, more effective direction? This law offers you liberation from the paralyzing fear of error. It empowers you to view every experience, every result, as an essential piece of data, a necessary step on the evolutionary path to your desired outcome. Embrace the feedback loop. Cultivate a mindset of continuous experimentation. Let every mistake be a teacher, every obstacle a guide, Every no, a redirection to a more resonant yes. For when you intelligently apply the law of iterative mastery, you transform what others perceive as failure into your most potent fuel for relentless progress. This intelligent application, this consistent refinement of your actions based on learned experience, naturally increases the value you bring to the world. And understanding that value and how it transmutes into your own rewards is the next crucial universal insight.